if you've watched me do this before, you know I'm a big fan of contours. No contours this year, so some people might be happy with that, others not. One of the things I'm doing here is just drawing a line, transitioning to an arc, simply by moving my mouse back to the vertex that I started from. We had a coincident relation there, throw a couple dimensions on it. So that's a quick and easy tip, instead of having to go to the arc command and select it each time. Good tip to learn and use often. We'll revolve this shape. There's our first feature. I don't need to draw a center line in there. That's not necessary. I can actually just use that center line that exists. On the front plane here, actually I turned all my primary planes on. That's a new capability we added in SolidWorks 16. Quick and easy way to get all your primary planes turned on and off. We'll add some dimensions. And what I want to do here is I want to create a dimension from the center of the bottom sphere. Well, I can't really create that without turning on the original sketch that I created. And I'll actually create dimensions from the top of that sphere as well. So we'll add those dimensions, extrude through all in both directions. That's the basic pocket. On the right plane, create a similar pocket. These are more of an external cutouts, if you will. Capture the silhouette edge on the left side, lower left side, so I can build that design intent into my model. We'll dimension it from the center of the top sphere, and then I'll line that top line of the rectangle up to the top of my part so it stays that way. I add a center line, mirror everything to the other side, and we'll extrude this as a cut through both directions. On the side face here, there's a hole there, 15 millimeters. You can use Hole Wizard, whatever. I just drew a circle and made it 15, extrude that through all. Next one we're going to do is we're going to add the holes at the bottom. So there's a counterbore hole on the right side and a tapped hole on the other side. So what we did here is we're just going to place a M10 button head counterbore hole, and we're going to do this by placing it onto the 3D surface. You do not need to create a plane to create that. With the Hole Wizard, we allow you to be able to place holes onto non-planar surfaces. I think it's really important that people understand how to do that. And in that hole, what I did is I added a long X relationship to establish that position for that. This one's just placed on a planar hole, a tapped hole, placed onto the planar face, and that's going to be an M10 tapped hole. Add some fillets. I'm just choosing 3 faces. It captures all those edges for me. I don't have to go and select edges individually. It's not necessary, but I like to add color to that fillet. That helps me visualize that, yeah, I got everything covered, and then you got to remember to add your material. So that's phase 1. So as you're done with that, we give you another drawing to make a change. As I mentioned before, those ledges at the top go from planar to cylindrical, and the ceiling at the bottom, if you will, inside of that pocket becomes spherical. When I look at this, the first thing I think of, replace face. Maybe you don't think of that, but maybe after I go through this little exercise, you'll say, next time, that's what I'll think of too. So instead of having to delete geometry or recreate geometry or add material, remove material, which might force me to have some of my other features fail or become dangling, I'm just going to use the replace face option, one of our many tools that we have for direct editing. I'm going to draw in an arc, extrude that as a surface. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace a solid face with a surface face. And you can see it's just taking that face and replacing it. Use the tab to hide bodies, something we added in SolidWorks 16. Helps me hide bodies quick and easy. On the bottom, I'm going to do something similar. Instead of trying to add material and cut material to get that cylindrical cut in there, I'm just going to draw in an arc, draw a center line. In this case, we're going to revolve an arc around the center line, which gives me a sphere. And we'll use replace face. Nice little tool. Nice little tool. Keep that one in your toolbox. Hide that surface. Now we got to deal with our fillets. Well, all those faces have changed dramatically, so we got to deal with fillets. Remember, before all I did was choose 3 faces, so we'll just reselect those faces, get rid of the ones that we had there before, and there's your geometry for phase 2. Next, we ask you to run a simulation. Very simple simulation. We want you to fix the bottom 2 holes. Or those bottom 2 holes. Actually, I'm running SolidWorks Simulation here instead of Simulation Express. And in doing so, since SolidWorks Simulation allows me to simulate multiple bodies inside of a single part, I'm going to exclude those first 2 bodies. We'll add our constraint to those 2 holes at the bottom, and then we'll apply our load. I just used my sketch to define the vertical direction, 5,000 newtons, and then we run it. In no time at all, comes back, gives me my results. I like to animate it because what that does is it helps me understand that, yep, this is behaving as I would expect it to. And in this case, it does. And then we ask you, what is the factor of safety? little over 5 is the final answer, and that's what we have for Model Mania 2016. So another big round of applause for all of our losers, or users, all of our winners. Woo.